Okay, some more questions, okay?
Okay, you were talking about living in Kentucky.
Yeah.
Where all did you live growing up?
Lexington, Kentucky,
Okay.
heart of the bluegrass, where they had faster horses.
Okay.
And I grew up on a dairy farm. My dad was going to the University of Kentucky. In World War I, his more or less, his right leg had been shattered by a bullet from the Germans. So he was kind of laid up for a couple of years while they got his leg to regrow. So I grew up on a dairy farm in Lexington, Kentucky. And he went to work for the U.S. Public Health Service Hospital for narcotic addicts, a dope fiend farm. And then in 1938, we moved from Lexington, Kentucky to Fort Worth, Texas. And I started off to school at North Texas Agricultural College. And after 2.5 years of North Texas Agricultural College, I went off to the Navy down at there in the Texas Gulf and off into the Navy. Got out of the Navy in 1946 in Seattle. And that was the size of it. And then I came up here to fly for Alaska Coastal in 1951. And so the net result was that I've been stuck here in Juneau, Alaska ever since. Never got enough money to get out of town.
So you, growing up, you lived in
Lexington, Kentucky, and then in Fort Worth, Texas.
And then in Fort Worth, Texas.
And so, anyway, Fort Worth was known as Cowtown in those days. It was a nice place and all that kind of good stuff. I learned to fly there in Fort Worth, actually at Grand Prairie, Texas. But anyway, that's another story, a long time ago.
So, why did you go to Seattle? Was that just because?
Well, I got out of the Navy in Seattle after, we came back from that too on June the 6th, 1945, and then got out of the Navy in 1946, and more or less stayed in Seattle. I went back to flying between Sitka and Boeing Field, Seattle, with stops in Annette Island, a PBY. We were carrying people from Sitka to Seattle.
What's a PBY?
PBY was a Navy patrol plane. Long time ago. They used to say, "We've sighted the enemy, notify the next of kin," because the first PBY started flying back about 1935, 36, somewhere like that. But anyway, it was sure beat walking.
Well, if you're up in the air, I suppose it does, huh?
Well, it sure beat walking.
Yeah.
Boats, well, in those days it didn't have the ferry system. Well, it was a lot different. So anyway, I came up here to spend the summer. It was 1951, flying for Alaska Coastal. And the net result was in September, when I went in to get my ticket to go back to school, they said, "No, we don't give you a ticket out after you've been here a year. If you go now, you got to buy your own ticket." So I never got enough money to get out of town. I've been stuck here in Juneau ever since. So that's the story.